up and be counted. And now may the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable unto you, O Lord, our rock and our Redeemer. Okay, I'm going to name some colors, and then you tell me what comes to mind. Orange, green, and white. Hurricanes. Garnet and gold. FSU. Orange and blue. University of Florida. Good. There you go. Here, I see some Gators out there. The recognition is immediate, of course, because many people around here have allegiances to these schools. There are some things in life we feel committed to, and we're not afraid to show it. In fact, because of that commitment, along with the spectacle on the sports field for these institutions, there's usually some kind of spectacle going on in the bleachers as well. Fans with their faces painted or other body parts painted, and then they line up in front of the TV screen and then they spell a word or make a design. It can be 15 degrees outside and you see these guys cheering, shirtless, no doubt finding bravado and heat from a liquid source. How we establish and honor our commitments is a subject of conversation and debate, and gets rewritten and reinterpreted as generations pass. Over time, our understanding of what it means to be committed, or even whether we should be committed to someone or something, can shift. Now, I recognize it's always a little bit dangerous to cite macro trends as if they were gospel truth, for no sooner does one make a general statement that someone can rightfully stand up and make a counterclaim and even find examples to prove the point. But the fact remains that sociologists do note trends in our culture, and the term commitment is one on the list, both to an increase in our commitment phobia in some arenas and a redefinition of commitment in others. I'll give you some examples. Some of our culture's reduced sense of commitment has been bred in and by the workplace. Pension plans and other benefits offered by corporations used to translate into tremendous incentive for people to stay with one company through their entire career. And many did this. My dad did. Behemoths like IBM or GE or Exxon, they could move their employees to different parts of the country or the world, and folks went willingly because they were committed to their employer just as their employer was committed to them. But organizational restructuring and management have undergone dramatic changes over the past 30 years. We've gone from defined compensation to defined benefit to defined contribution in our pensions. From corporate stability and commitment to corporate downsizing and excessing of employees. Whereas in the 1980s, layoffs usually happened with failing enterprises. During the past generation, cutbacks have also been made by healthy companies to enhance shareholder value. As you can imagine, employee loyalty has also declined as a result. According to a recent Career Builder report, we now have a situation where 3/4 of full-time workers, while not necessarily actively looking for a job, say that they would leave theirs for the right opportunity. And we've raised a generation of young millennials, 15 through 30, whose general statement about expectations for their careers includes needing to be their own brand wherever it takes them. It's a more nomadic point of view. How commitment is lived out and defined is likewise being reframed in our personal and spiritual lives. Hooking up versus dating on college campuses studied and written about in psychology journals all the way to the front page of the newspapers. And commitment reticence is cited as one of the components of this shift. Cohabitating rather than marriage, or as a precursor to marriage, is steadily on the rise. In fact, it's become so intertwined with contemporary culture that I read a full article last month in the newspaper about the demographers' need to find a name to categorize this ever-increasing segment of living arrangement. Turning to our spiritual dimensions, an American history book can remind us that a rather specific set of religious groups came from Europe to start life in the so-called New World. There was some variation among them, but by and large, the settlers espoused a fairly similar religious commitment. But life in this country has changed. We are now aware of and live alongside people with a wide array of religious traditions and spiritual beliefs. Commitments vary greatly. And add to this, while a recent study said some 92% of Americans still believe in some kind of God or universal spirit, people's commitment to any type of set of belief is on a continuous downward spiral. The fastest growing group in the United States is unaffiliated, despite the fact that most contend that there is a God and there is a path to salvation. It's not that Americans don't believe in anything, it's that they believe in everything, concluded Michael Lindsay of the Center of Race, Religion, and Urban Life at Rice University in a recent interview.